Why is the left side of your face? It looks like it might be a little paralyzed around your mouth.
Paralyzed around my mouth?
Yeah.
I smoke too much.
You smoked much?
Probably.
Okay. What do you smoke?
A couple of different things.
Do you smoke fentanyl?
Seldom.
Seldom, but you do sometimes.
Very occasionally, yeah.
Yeah. What else do you smoke? You smoke marijuana? Marijuana? Marijuana?
Imagine being at a low point in your life. Your face is partially paralyzed, and you're living on the streets, you're an addict, and then there's some right-wing nitwit exploiting you for her poverty porn. Hey everybody, it's Alex R. Mayer, host of the Doomed Planet podcast, and this is episode 135, Notorious Seattle Junkies, Ginny Burton.
An incredible story of redemption and inspiration.
According to Ginny Burton, it's hard to fact check some of her life story. Her mom introduced marijuana to her when she was age 6. And by age 12, her mom was introducing her to meth. And by age 14, you can guess crack. But Ginny Burton, after decades of addiction and imprisonment, pulled herself up by her own bootstraps, got an education, and became a success. A success as a member of the right-wing grift squad, supported by right-wing dark money, people that hate homeless people and have right-wing solutions. The right-wing solution is personal responsibility. We can't have society help you. We can't have programs. It's up to you to just do it on your own, like Ginny Burton did.
There was something about her, an authenticity. I happen to believe that this woman can help change the world.
Okay, so 17 felony convictions for Ginny. She's in and out of every women's prison in Washington state. Identity theft, armed robbery, and assault among the charges. That's funny because her fellow right-wing grift boy, Kevin Dahlgren, also was busted for identity theft of a homeless person and is a convicted felon for that. And Kevin, you may see him on social media doing the same thing as Ginny, and of course Andrea Suarez of We Heart Seattle, another right-wing grifter, paying herself to supposedly clean up homeless camps. So it's like you go and you interview these people, vulnerable people on the street, and then that gives you social media views, and then the right-wing dark money people that give you money for your shady organization are pleased by that because they love the poverty porn.
I'm going to show you a picture. 2 pictures, really, a before and after. And you will look at the pictures, and they will be hard to look at. But then you will hear the story and realize that the pictures are in fact beautiful, profound.
Ginny finally got clean in 2012 after being arrested once again. And then at age 45, she went back to school in 2016. She eventually transferred to the University of Washington and became a Truman Scholar. Graduated with honors with a degree in political science. Now, I used to think the University of Washington was a prestigious institution, but I'm not seeing that Ginny has a brain. Her book that we'll get to later is a horrible mass of cliches and garbage. Like, she can't write. Her interviews are terrible. When she's interviewed by the media, she comes off just as not a person who could have gotten through the University of Washington. And again, one must have sympathy for Ginny, who had asshole loser parents that did nothing for her other than help, lead her to a life of addiction. On the other hand, I feel sorry for her because she's being used by the right wing, by people who think that dealing with homelessness means, bulldozing their camps and making them go somewhere else. People who do not want public money going for treatment and rehabilitation. According to Divest SPD, one of our favorites on Twitter/X, Ginny is the poster child for jail equals treatment. She spent her entire adult life cycling in and out of jail and prison before she finally, quote, got clean. And again, a piece of shit person, Ginny, but one does not wish drug addiction on anyone, so we'll give her that.
And your addiction is bigger than you. You're hopeless. You can't stand your life. You would rather be dead than alive. I spent most of my addiction wishing that somebody would just blow me away.
She sure spent a long time in jail without ever getting an education. Like, that's, why couldn't she have gotten a degree when she was incarcerated for all those decades? Okay, so in 2024, Change Washington teamed with filmmaker Ginny Burton to produce Behind Closed Doors, a shocking 30-minute documentary which exposes the unsafe and drug-filled conditions within King County's low-barrier housing.
In case you don't know anything about me, my name is Ginny Burton. You may or may not have seen my photos on the internet or on the news in your area somewhere. These photos in particular, the one in the red, I was in the depths of my addiction, and the one on the other side was last year while I was getting graduation photos taken. I made the decision to go back to school as an older adult, and I succeeded in that process and that goal. A whole lot of other things have happened, though. I'm not just those two experiences. There have been a whole lot of different things that have occurred in my life. Just a brief overview. I was born in poverty to drug addict parents.
Ginny Burton. She wrote an op-ed November 2025 for the centersquare.com, which is, of course, a right-wing think tank disguised as a media outlet. If I were to close my eyes and imagine a city that I would love to move to and live in, it would be a place that shined, even on a rainy day. A place where people are smiling, thoughtful, and helpful. A place that was clean, no garbage or graffiti visible. Love is caring about the well-being of ourselves, our neighbors, and our environment. Love is kindness. Love is understanding. This is all Ginny's output, are these tired and embarrassing cliches. She cannot form a coherent thought. And again, after decades of smoking crack and meth and I'm going to say prostitution, she brags about her drug use. The story of her mom smoking her out when she's 6, I find that hard to believe. She does not brag about the prostitution, and I don't think there's going to be a defamation lawsuit coming our way anytime soon if I speculate that that was part of her deal. And again, we wouldn't wish that on anyone who's forced to do that. Ginny says in her Center Square article, I have witnessed the outcomes that emerge when we educate and empower people to care for themselves and their families. That's it, the education and the empowerment. The transformation is not subtle. It's real. It's measurable. It's undeniable. It almost sounds like she had ChatGPT write this. It's got that sassy weirdness to it. The strongest part of a city is community. Okay. A strong city is built on rules, laws, and ordinances that support a flourishing people, that equip people to flourish. It does not take advantage of those who work the hardest. It rewards them. Okay, so that's just your old neoliberal capitalism there. Like, reward the rich, and everyone else is just a temporarily embarrassed millionaire who will also be rich. Over the last 40 years, childhood disability has skyrocketed. The financial costs are staggering. Disability-associated healthcare spending has exploded, okay? Consider this sobering reality. Fewer than 1% of people who enter federal disability programs actually return to work. The program that was meant to provide... Okay, not true. There are programs emerging across the country that approach this challenge differently. Programs like O-UT, which is her thing that we'll get to, Battlefield Addiction, and of course, We Heart Seattle. What a grift. The programs ask, what is this person capable of becoming? This is what a strong city looks like. And of course, she has the street cred. She says, our entire world seems to believe that academics are more informed about things they have never experienced. And this belief is driving our systems into destruction. We have experts in addiction recovery who have never been addicted. We have theorists of poverty who have never been poor. What? We have designers of disability services who have never faced disability. And we have built multi-billion-dollar industries around their theories. We can bring back order to our cities. She sounds like Mussolini. Balance, harmony, order, law. These are not old-fashioned concepts. Like the sick the police on the homeless. It's not an old-fashioned concept.
If it weren't for the police, I don't know that I would have stopped when I did, even though I was tired of the life that I was living.
Podcast, shout out.
Hey, I wanted to mention that we have new music for the pod from Emilio, and very happy to have them contribute. We also have a new setup, new computer, and I got to apologize. The audio quality on the last couple episodes was bad. There was some hum and noise and stuff that I went back and remixed. And so there you have it. We're still no budget, and loving that part of podcasting, that it really doesn't cost you anything other than your valuable time and brain power. And speaking of brain power, let's go back to the lady that doesn't seem to have much of a brain, Ginny Burton, who wrote another op-ed for the Center Square, July of 2025. The State as Drug Dealer, Why Washington's Safer Supply Proposal Will Destroy Our Lives. This is one of these some proposed legislation that would distribute drugs to drug addicts to get them off the street. And of course, right-wing people hate that. Ooh. Oh no, we don't anything that helps an addict and it reduces their chance of death or injury. Oh, right-wing people do not want that. That just enables them. Enables those sick meth freaks.
She and a guy named Jack used to find drug dealers who were in the country illegally and robbed them at gunpoint. And on it went. Raging chaos, hell-bent on destruction.
Ginny says, 13 years ago, drugs were illegal. And because of that reality, I was able to get my life on track. 7 months in jail and 18 months of treatment focused on abstinence. I found freedom, not temporary relief, not maintenance, freedom. Ginny has a good chance of falling off the wagon. I mean, it's minute by minute struggle if you were that addicted, poly drug user. So good luck to her. But, maintenance, you had methadone, Suboxone programs, extremely effective. Oh, but no, she wouldn't want that. Abstinence-based recovery. I don't need tours of homeless encampments to understand what's happening. I regularly enter these spaces to interview the people living there. Of course you do, for your poverty porn. What is the real cost of maintaining addiction? For someone without insurance, Vivitrol injections, $20,000. High-dose Suboxone, $12,000. Okay. You can't trust any facts and figures that come from her, but even if it did cost that, getting someone off the streets and off of using the illegal shit and into that program is highly proven to be highly beneficial and has been for a very long time. Methadone is not a new thing. And of course, what is the human cost of drug-related whatnots? Children growing up without parents. Families destroyed because we chose to maintain addiction rather than fight for recovery. The generational cost, kids raised by grandparents in foster care or in chaos. She could mention here that was her kids, and sadly, her son died recently.
Using crack and cocaine to get high. That's what you say you love, but it's really insane. You could die. What are you thinking of?
The community cost of these horrible, horrible drugs: crime, homelessness, emergency room visits, the erosion of neighborhoods. And who fits these astronomical bills? Taxpayers through Medicaid. Okay. Who benefits? Pharmaceutical companies making billions on dependency drugs. Okay. Treatment facilities with guaranteed long-term customers. What? So, Ginny, you went through treatment, but a facility, you're against treatment facilities. And guess what? Anyone who is a notorious Seattle junkie like yourself is a long-term customer, like it or not. A massive bureaucracy whose jobs depend on keeping people sick. Who doesn't benefit? The person being, quote, served. They're trapped, powerless. The system profits from their continued dependence. We need to provide opportunity, not maintenance. Okay, right, you don't like methadone and you somehow recovered without it, okay?
17 felony convictions, 3 trips to the state prison, and each time she got clean and thought about her life.
Let's go further back into Ginny Burton's sordid past. This is from University of Washington magazine from December 2020. After prison, a future in the law. After multiple incarcerations, Ginny Burton has become a top scholar. My potential goal is to be a prosecutor because I want reform in that area, she says. Okay, so that goal has not been achieved 6 years later. She's basically a poverty porn pundit. Interesting, though, that she, after being abused in prison for decades, she wants to be a prosecutor, which is the person that works with the cops to throw people in jail. I almost prefer the street addict Ginny to the whatever she is now, the monster she is now. She's a ghoul. Ginny Burton, a mother of 3 and a first-generation college student, has her sights set on becoming an attorney. Okay. She became a Truman Scholar. I really have to look into that. Like, there's nothing I found in my research that indicates that she can write a coherent sentence or form a coherent thought that's not based on right-wing cliches. So this guy, Omari Amili, the interviewer, says, you had parents who were addicted to drugs. When you were really young, they were doing robberies together, and this became a cycle. And your child was incarcerated as well. When my dad got out of prison, he never came back, Ginny said, but my mom and I, unfortunately, were using drugs together and were in prison together 2 times. My 28-year-old son served prison sentence for something he did as a juvenile. They charged him as an adult. He's in foster care. And, of course, her daughter is in active addiction. So great job being a mom there. I try to live really steady, Ginny says. I've learned that strength comes from being able to put one foot in front of the other day after day, regardless of what's in front of you. Ginny said growing up with her druggy criminal parents helped prepare me to be comfortable in that kind of environment. I had a gun held to my head by my dad's crime partner who came in to threaten my mom's life. My mom was the first person to ever get high with me. There were 7 kids in my family. I come from a family where people just aren't nice. Yeah. I started training dogs when I was in prison from 1997 to 2000, and I really liked that. When I got out of prison, I started managing a doggy daycare. I was clean for a little while. So all this stuff about she wanted to be an attorney and whatnot, well, she's not an attorney. What she is, though, is a Mormon, okay? So that doesn't come up at all except in LDS Living, Latter-day Saints magazine. From heroin addict to scholar, Latter-day Saint Ginny Burton shares how faith was vital in her recovery. I don't think I've mentioned yet that Ginny went viral when she graduated with her cap and gown and everything from the University of Washington. Posted a photo, before and after photo, and it's her booking photo of just being the worst crack whore with hit near death, and then her full recovery. Although, kids, hardcore drug use over many years is going to destroy your youthful good looks. That would be Ginny.
When I look at the photos, it's almost unbelievable. It's like it's another person that I'm looking at.
On the left is a haunting mugshot showing a shell of a person, eyes unfocused and cheeks sunken. A shock of dyed red-violet hair swoops down diagonally across her forehead, and a tattoo on the right side of her neck is just barely visible beneath her ducked chin. The photo on the right is markedly different, showing a woman in a cap and gown, smiling, arms folded proudly, an unmistakable light shining in her eyes. Oh man, if you are a junkie for too many years, you end up with a permanent reptilian look. I wish we had the resources here to look up more about her early life, which included rape, multiple suicide attempts, heroin addiction, robbing drug dealers, homelessness, abusive relationships, and losing custody of her children. And she found the gospel in 2009, finally. They're trying to whip Jesus on you, or Mormonism or whatever cult, when you're trapped in prison. Like, why did it take her so long? Like, oh, we finally found a Bible in prison. Here you go, Ginny. I dove in and read the Bible from front to back. And I started to investigate a number of the faiths. Some pretty tremendous spiritual experiences when I was in prison. Profound. Burton had read the Bible a total of 3 times and was out of prison when she started looking for a religion and found the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Tacoma, Washington. She later saw a documentary called Meet the Mormons, and she dug that. And her journey has had plenty of ups and downs. She climbs mountains. It's a good way to keep moving forward and trying to pretend you don't crave heroin every second of every day. In the future, Burton plans to help recreate the U.S. prison system so that rehabilitation is mandatory and accessible for offenders.
The pictures of Ginny Burton are, in fact, beautiful.
So like all good grifters, Ginny has a weird nonprofit called O-UT. O-UT targets the underlying causes of people's unwanted circumstances through assessment and education. O-UT uses the separation, services, and accountability model to address setbacks, replace behavior patterns, and support successful outcomes. The coursework is as followed: identification, awareness, accountability, letting go, new habits. O-UT delivers holistic transfiguration. O-UT works in collaboration with Corrio, a platform that allows incarcerated participants to receive and leave messages at any time. It combines efficiency and effectiveness to vastly improve communications. The prison telecommunications industry is a disgraceful scam in for-profit inmate phone services is what we would call them. One of the more evil ones is Suarez. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, Suarez exemplifies the industry's obscene penchant for squeezing profits by fleecing their customers and shorting their business partners. And what better business model than to take advantage of the most vulnerable in our society, people who are mostly impoverished and stuck in a jail cell. They made $114 million in profit in 2014. They steer a greater portion of their call volume from regular calls to abusive single call programs that charge $9.99 or $14.99 to a credit card for each call. Can you imagine? In the twisted world of prison communications, voicemail is an innovation. This is from Quartz. Answering machines have been around since the early 20th century, and many have stopped using them in favor of texting and email. But there's one place where voicemail can still be very useful: behind bars. Enter Corrio. It's a Washington State-based company co-founded by Alex Peder, a former inmate himself. He experienced the pain and inconvenience of communicating with family while serving his sentence. Corrio is a service that lets inmates call a special number assigned to them and then record a voice message that gets texted as a link to any person the prison or jail has allowed them to contact. They can check their messages anytime they have access to a phone. Corrio, the company, bills itself as a simpler, more affordable way to communicate in prison, but it's not cheap. The monthly account fee is $5.95. Calls cost 0.105 cents per minute, and every message costs 25 cents. In many jails, calls can cost even $1 a minute. So this is like a bargain, right? So Corrio is a good deal compared to the prison in Zavala County, Texas, where phones are operated by prison communications giant Suarez. You have to pay as much as $8 for one message. And of course, prisons, many of them for-profit prisons, get kickbacks from every phone call from these companies. For-profit inmate phone services generate $1.4 billion annually by charging high rates and fees for calls. But, Corrio aims to reduce recidivism. According to GeekWire.com in 2019, with messaging technology for incarcerated people. This is the startup spotlight for GeekWire. And, of course, Alex Peder. No mention of a crime he committed, but he did his time. And amazingly, he was co-founder of Ballard Computer. This was like an Apple Macintosh store from the early 90s that I remember well. So interesting guy, this Alex Peder. And, you can get started on Corrio for just $5. Again, communications between prisoners and their families should be free. that's not even an issue. I'm not sure what the shtick is here. Oh, our predatory prison phone system is more affordable than the other pirates out there. According to GeekWire in the editor's note, in 2016, Peder was charged with violating a condition of his parole that required him to use an interlock alcohol testing device on his car.
In the depths of despair, at the height of her glory.
All these creepy people who are on the right-wing side of the homelessness, grift. Alex Peder, former criminal. Well, what was his crime? Ginny, committed almost every crime except murder, it seems like. In 2010, he killed 2 Federal Way teenagers in a drunk driving accident. So just so we know, there are people doing good work in this sector. And as of yesterday, in Real Change, the homeless newspaper for Seattle, we see that Luke Sumner is the new executive director. And here's a sane thing that he says. I believe that racism and poverty are not accidents, but the products of systems we can name, challenge, and change. Okay, so instead of being a grifter, he's acknowledging that, there's, capitalism. He doesn't say that dreaded evil word, but, this is capitalism, folks. You don't get people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps without dealing with that predatory and evil system.
And I would never wish my story on anybody else, but I'm grateful for the way that mine unfolded, because I think that it's supposed to be the way that it is so that I can reach as many people as possible to let them know that there is a way out.
Oh, YouTube, why have you forsaken me? Modern America with Ginny Burton. The struggle inside. Lived experiences of recovery and reform. And so there are a bunch of interviews with homeless people that are down on their luck.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Fuck the whole United States of America, including me. Every day I wake up in this fucking country and I realize the only way to fix it is to burn this bitch to the ground. I have no confidence in politicians, elections. It's all an illusion of something better that never is gonna come. We are slaves to a system that fucking hates us and despises us. We as humans have a God-given right to live happy, prosperous lives, free from control. This is hell, and we should let this motherfucker burn.
Okay, Ginny Burton, we feel sorry for you, and we also think you're kind of a piece of shit and a tool of powers that you'll never understand because you're sort of a nitwit. And of course, nitwits can write books too. Ginny Burton wrote a book called If I Can, So Can You. 8 Steps to Lasting Change. I know that part of many recovery programs is that they make you write an essay or a book, and that is a genre of literature that is quite extensive. She dedicates this book to her children, Joseph, Jordan, and Gia, with a G. This came out in 2023. What is this book and how to use it? How I know change is possible for anyone. Part 1 and 2. Part 3, create steps to create lasting change. Part 4, conclusion. This is mercifully a very short book, like not even 50 pages, I think.
Prison has been a part of my life, whether it's been my parents being incarcerated, me being incarcerated, my siblings being incarcerated, me being incarcerated with my parents.
I saw that drugs attracted chaos before ever using them because of my dad. For some crazy reason, my mom convinced me to use drugs with her and my brothers one night. I did not want to participate, so I cried and pleaded for them not to make me do drugs. I wanted nothing to do with the drugs, but after some intense convincing, I gave in to the pressure and chose to use with my family. They were also excited when I finally gave in. Unbelievably sick, but also probably fiction. One thing about Ginny's book here is there are no facts of any kind. There's no, here's where I served this sentence, and here are my convictions for this and that. No facts or figures of any kind. It's just the endless, rote cliches that she is so fond of dishing out to anyone that will accept them.
Those incarcerations gave me an opportunity to work myself into changing my life.
By the time I was in 6th grade, I went from being a mild-mannered high achiever to a drug addict with an anger problem. I spent nearly 30 years in the insane cycle of active addiction. I served 3 separate terms in prison, 2 with my mother, of course. I was a victim, a perpetrator, and a failure in every sense of the word. And I let my children down, which was the most devastating choice of them all, and I hated myself because of it. Okay, there's one good anecdote here. She says, in 2008, I was arrested in Seattle. 2 police officers rode up on their bikes and started questioning me. They had spoken with a person I interacted with 20 minutes earlier that was seeking drugs. The person told them I had crack cocaine in my possession. The officer searched me after accusing me of littering. During the search, they found stolen identification. I was arrested for possession of stolen property. I was angry that the person they talked to, even though I had no crack, because the cop searched and arrested me. I'm sorry, that's her mistake in grammar, not my reading. I blamed the person that talked to the police for my arrest. I was sure it was his fault. Was my arrest the other person's fault? I thought so for a long time. But after some thinking from her, I don't know. I realized that I had not been smoking crack. Had I not been smoking crack in the first place, I would never have been on that corner that morning and would not have ended up in jail. Yeah, the same old tropes. In conclusion, there's no better time than now to recreate yourself. What do you have to lose? The worst thing that can happen to you by giving yourself a chance and going through this process is you will be exactly where you are right now after doing the work. I don't like either version of Ginny, the crackhead version or the current version. Okay, this has been Doomed Planet, the podcast, episode 135, Notorious Seattle Junkies, Ginny Burton. Goodbye.
Find out more at doomedplanet.com.
You to die for Israel. They ordered you to die